Hello, this is the SIG Cluster Lifecycle meeting. Today is the 6th of October 2020. I'm going to share the agenda document in chat. Just a second. Please add your names to the list of participants and your agenda topics. Okay, so the first PSA that I have is that if you are presenting at KubeCon NA, you should have received an email about your registration and some details. I think we submitted the following talks. That is the SIG intro session, image builder, and cluster API. Please let me know if you haven't received an email about this.
Lubomir, just for your info, I received an email as a speaker because they basically were assuming that me and Vince were doing the cluster API talk, but we wrote to Nancy explaining that now Carlos and I don't remember who is.
It's me and Katie. Like we got the message from Nancy, and I did the sign up already, and I think Katie as well.
Okay, so great, solved.
Thank you, Fabrizio.
Can you please correct the spelling of Katie here in the doc?
Yeah, I'm gonna update. Just a second.
Okay, do we have any questions around KubeCon NA? I don't know, Justin, I can present solo if you will not have the time for this.
We probably, I mean, are we going to change our previous? I guess we should update our previous presentation. I don't know what more we would really add.
Yeah, Tim suggested that we should have some pie charts with the user feedback from the survey. I don't see anything else that we can change, quite frankly.
That sounds good. I mean, we highlighted, I think, 3 subprojects, Cluster API, Kubernetes, something else. It would be, I mean, we could probably highlight another one, but yeah, there's not going to be, if the format remains basically the same, I don't think we're going to make too many changes to it, which is a bit disappointing because eventually we'll run out of people that haven't heard the message. But yeah, it makes, I don't think that the core message has changed very much. But yeah, I like the idea of adding some pie charts.
I guess we can highlight image builder, even if we have a talk for it. Last time we highlighted corporate config as well. We can also highlight it again because it's understaffed. My general idea is that we should have more visibility for the alpha projects. So yeah, it's to be decided. I can start working on the draft and eventually let you know to have a look, and we can decide how we, if you want to participate in the recording. I don't know if the platform is decided yet, so there's some lack of clarity around the platform they wish to use. We're definitely changing platforms this time.
I can help you if you need help, Lubomir.
Sure, thanks. Does anybody know when is the deadline for the recordings, or is this not clear yet? I think we can follow up in the next SIG meeting on this topic. I think it's not clear when the deadline for the presentations is. Last time we had a deadline before we uploaded the
It's,
vote.
yeah, like I posted a link in the channel and reading here, upload presentation. It's till Friday, November 6th.
So this is promote your talk.
Yeah, there is a session called the uploading presentation to scad.com.
Oh, I did not see this detail in the email. So
I got this from the page.
yeah, so technically, okay, headshot and bio, October 20.
Oh, this is another, okay, yeah. October 22, yeah. Oh, the presentation is November 6th, okay, yeah.
So we have to record the video presentation until October 22nd.
Yeah.
And upload it where is the question, but because I didn't see any details about that. Does anybody know? Okay. Recording in platform. I wonder if they just copy pasted the old instructions and changed the dates.
Oh, there is a Google folder that you need to upload the MP4. There is one like self-recording your presentation, and then they.
So it's the same like last time, I guess.
Yeah.
All right. This means that we don't have that much time. Okay. So this is like 2 weeks from now, pretty much. Which means that I'm going to start working on the slides for the talk I participate in, and see like if me and Jesse can record the vote or how we're going to proceed. But I encourage everybody else to proceed with recording as well and preparing the slides. Okay, let me add this in the notes as well.
Can you hear me?
Yes?
Yep, Prakash here. I thought Brian was working on Image Builder. A couple of times I have attended his meeting. Would like to know what exactly you will include. Like, I have been dealing with image builders in other projects like Airship, and we are trying to figure out exactly what for Kubernetes we should include. For kubeadmin, let's say if I have kubeadmin and I need to get a what you call a cluster, and in that cluster I want to, let's say, take an application which could be runtime from either Docker, or it could be Cryo, or whatever runtime. Is there a, what would you like to present which we can use actually? That's what I'm thinking.
So is this a question what we're going to present at KubeCon?
Yep.
Basically, the presentation is going to be led by, I believe, Mosh. Can you see my screen? Prakash, can you see my screen? So basically, this person is you can ping them on Slack and they can give you some details about what they are going to include in the presentation. Or I personally do not know yet what the contents are going to be, but you should definitely contact Mosh about it. He's one of the people presenting there. All right, any more PSAs or group topics? All right, we can move to the sub-project readouts. I added some items for CubeADM. We made a collection of deprecations and graduations for the 120 cycle. I enumerated some of them here. The list is quite big, but basically we found out that there's a lot of stale code in CubeADM in some of the alpha features that we have, and also a lot of features were already used by a lot of people, so we decided to graduate them from alpha to parent top level commands, such as, for instance, CubeADM alpha certs was already used in a number of places and by a lot of consumers apparently, so we decided to graduate it to a CubeADM certs parent command. Uh, we are also deprecating self-hosting support based on like no like feedback that we don't have that many users or maybe no users at all. And just have a look at these tickets that I added in the list here. The second item I wanted to talk about is that we merged a CAP today to rename the CubeADM master label and taint. The CAP was basically present as a draft for 1 week. We got some comments from Fabrizio and Jordan on the draft. I believe Dario also helped with clearing some of the language there. And basically, we I transformed the draft into a CAP this weekend, and we were able to merge it as implementable. And I want to be very clear here that it's implementable in terms of one of the stages. It's going to have multiple stages. Uh, and the first one is basically adding the control plane label in parallel to the master label, and also announcing to users that they should tolerate a new taint that is control plane taint preemptively. If you want to know more about this, just please look at the details in the CAP. As you can see here, the primary stage is 120. Secondary stage is going to be like roughly 1 year after the primary stage, but this depends on feedback as well. So if users are complaining, we are not going to execute after 4 releases or 1 year, and we may delay this even further. And after some feedback from Jordan, we decided that we should not do too much in the secondary stage. We should also include a third and a fourth stage, which is primarily driven by the fact that CubeADM also supports immutable upgrades. When new nodes join the cluster, there's some complexities around which labels and taints are tolerated by workloads and so on. This is also outlined in detail below, but basically the summary here is that this is going to take 20 months at minimum. So it's going to take a while. I have not seen replies from the working group naming on this topic. I'm pretty sure they're going to be quite surprised that this is going to take so much time. So I'm going to keep this group updated in terms of what their reply is going to be. I think that they expected something that is much shorter than that. But yeah, this is the complexity of changing a GA feature used by a lot of people. Justin?
Has working group naming approved control plane?
Yes. I think without the dash, but we want the dash because it's a label. Key, it's a key.
Okay, I just don't want to go in 16 months and we're like, oh no, you can't use the word control or something like that.
Yeah, I think there are also a number of PRs in the Kubernetes repository where the same change is happening for other stuff, like the tests, functions, and so on are being renamed to use control plane, either in Pascal case, camel case, or with a dash in comments. Well, it depends. So yeah, this is the cap. I'm going to start. I mean, I don't have anything to start. I just am going to set a small PR. That is the first phase. The most important part of the PR is the action required release note. And after that, we also have to announce it to a lot of people. I guess I'm going to try to contact contribexes to ask them what is the best way to communicate to the wider public, possibly Twitter. I don't even have an account there. So I'm going to ask for help. So yeah, this is happening. And we are going to try to make this as visible as possible. Any comments on this particular item?
So are we, uh, with respect to taints, are we including as when we add a new node, those taints have to be reorganized or something? Or have to be tested in the label or what? I didn't get it. What
Yeah,
exactly?
you should definitely read the cap. The process is explained there.
Okay, I'll do that. Thank you.
Yeah, because currently we applied a taint that is called master. It has a key that includes the word master. We have to change that. But if there are deployments that have to tolerate this particular master taint, there's a complication. There's a process that we have to apply. We have to rename this master taint to be a control plane taint. And that's why there are so many stages to the change. But please read the cap. It's explained there.
Thank you. I'll do that.
Something I put in chat. I was just reading the last WG naming minutes. As far as I can tell, they are not yet in agreement as to how they are going to decide for the new names.
But I'm confused because the work already is happening. We have people like Aaron and others already approving PRs. So
I think there are a bunch of places where it doesn't really matter because it's not user facing. So like if we change it twice, it doesn't make a big deal. It's not a big deal. This one is not in that category, right? This one is user facing with a 16-month period of like safe change or more. Like if we rename a directory or rename a class or a identifier, like big deal, right? But like the renaming the things which are user facing are more significant. So like it seems a valid strategy to go through and change the things which are easy to change, like we can change them twice. This one, I don't know. I don't know how often they meet either. So it sounds like I should definitely attend the next meeting. Maybe we can achieve consensus only on the label and taint and not the general, because it sounds like they do have consensus on the naming of the master branch, or the branch formerly known as master.
There was also a discussion on the mailing list about control plane, the changing master. we also have to be very clear that master has, to my knowledge, at least 3 meanings in Kubernetes, which is quite unfortunate. One of them is an administrator. We have roles. One of the RBACs in the system RBACs, the built-in RBACs is system masters. So this is basically the explains an administrator. So that's one of the meanings. The other meaning is master can mean a control plane node as well. And the third meaning is an instance of the API server itself. So you communicating to the master, you can say, you can replace the same sentence with communicating to a control plane instance of the API server. And we saw this in a couple of places in Kubernetes, in the Kubernetes source code. So it has multiple meanings. Based on that, we tried to find what to rename it to. And in this particular case, in kubeadm, we label and taint nodes. So if a node has a role that is master, we thought that the best rename here is this node is now a control plane node. So that is basically the rationale for us.
I absolutely agree, and I think I agree it's important. I agree that the name makes sense. I just want us to make sure that WG naming is on board, and yeah,
we can I can help in that. I can maybe post the cap in the WG naming Slack channel and ask for feedback as well. I don't know if someone from that working group reply on the cap as well.
Yeah, so people like Steven Augustus and Jordan Legend already participated there. So I'm pretty sure a lot of people saw the cap draft and control plane was already there. Nobody objected. The cap, I just, like earlier today, I sent an email to the working group mailing list with the latest cap iteration. So everybody should have seen this already. We saw no objections about the control dash plane usage. So I'm inclined at this point to just proceed with the change. But yeah, I agree that for the wider rename of master, we should think about what is the actual what is master referring to in this particular case, because it has multiple meanings. But I also just open discussions on the mailing list or the Slack channel. I'm sure people will respond. Prakash?
Yes, so after saying control dash plane, are we going to have another control dash plane dash primary if you have a HA situation?
No. So currently, kubeadm applies the master label and taint to control plane nodes. It does not treat the primary control plane nodes in a special case. It also applies the same label as the secondary control plane nodes.
Okay. So it is primary, secondary, and there is no master in that case. Thanks.
Well, everything is going to be called control plane instead of master. That is the change. Yeah. Okay. Any more comments on the rename? Okay, Fabrizio.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
So, follow up from last update about kubemean, we are starting to collect idea about what could be a roadmap for kubemean. There is an umbrella issue, and the umbrella issue is linking other issue where we are discussing the possible option. Just a quick explanation about the process. So the umbrella issue is just a collection. We are not defining the priorities or accepting an idea. At this stage, we are just collecting information. And as soon as one idea is mature enough, basically we will start drafting a roadmap.md document that we are going to add in the kubeadmin repo, and from that we will start with CAP and implementation planning.
Yeah, as I discussed with Fabrizio, I really like this idea because every project should have a roadmap. It depends, like when you're adding new features, like what are your plans for the future, like 2 years from now, maybe. Everything should be documented because this way can also attract contributors. Maybe a feature that is delayed later in time can attract somebody who can contribute it in this particular cycle. But if they don't know that you even want this feature, if this is not even on the roadmap, it's going to be more difficult for them to discover that help is wanted there. Okay, Fabrizio, Cluster API.
Yeah, quick update about Cluster API. So v03.10 is out, and this should be the latest big release of the v03 series, the v1 alpha 3 series. Starting from now, the v1 alpha 3 series will got monthly patch release if necessary. While on the main branch, we already started work for V1 Alpha 4. Mostly we are doing cleanups, preparation like upgrading Kubernetes version, all the dependencies, and Kubebuilder. While the community is starting to work on the CAP, and the rough planning is to dedicate the month of October to discuss all the CAP, and so we can start beginning of November, middle of November implementation.
I have a question. I'm hoping that this is not very provocative to the Cluster API planning. What do you think will happen if in 1.21 kubeadm removes v1 beta 1 support? Is this if Cluster API doesn't have an answer, is this like a blocking for the removal?
Yeah, this is an interesting topic. We have an issue. This is part of the discussion. My gut feeling is that it will be a problem for Cluster API, because basically with the current planning, v1 alpha 4, the first release for v1 alpha 4 will be out somewhere around March. That means that it is after v1 21. I already raised the point in the channels, and also on the issue. So we are on it, but I don't have a good answer for you now.
Okay, do you think that v1 alpha 4 is again going to embed a certain version of the kubeadm config, or should it just treat it as like a blob of data?
So
I know that this is difficult.
no, I don't get the final answer, but if the latest discussion on this topic were moving in another direction. The idea was to have an API in Cluster API, which define basically the option that we want to forward to kubeadmin. And this API, the need for this API is for mainly for two reasons. One is for decoupling the two projects, and second is because by exposing the kubadmin API directly, there are some weirdness. For instance, if you look at the kubadmin control plane object, you have to repeat some configuration twice, one in the init configuration, one in the joint configuration. So there are some, it seems that the orientation is that we can give a better user experience by abstracting, and also we can decouple. Behind the scene, we will take this cluster API representation of Bootstrap configuration and convert to the target version of kubadmin. So the idea is to basically hide to the cluster API user the kubadmin version and manage it internally. So
yeah, I see. This is like this is Andy's idea. I guess this is what he proposed at some point, to abstract away. One problem with that is that if users want more and more features, you have to iterate on V1 Alpha 4 to add new fields to the abstracted layer.
Yeah, there are pros and cons in duplication in creating a new API. The pro is the coupling. The cons is that this API should take some time to get to the proper maturity. I think that the starting point is good because we learned a lot along the way in kubadmin. But I agree with your concern. So every new API requires some stabilization time.
Yeah. Any more questions for Cluster API? Prakash?
Yeah. So what I wanted to know was on the cluster API side, of course, you have the core API plus all the different groupings. What happens if there is an administrative requirement for an API to be able to use it? Because that impacts the interoperability. So if I have non-admin API, like we do in OpenStack, we have a non-admin and admin. And in the RBAC here, I see some APIs which will need like a kubeadm init with the whatever cluster API and all those and other options. So any API that requires admin comes in the way of interoperability. How does Kubernetes handle it? Is there anything specific about it which I can learn?
Could you kindly explain me better what do you mean with an API that requires admin? Because
Yeah, so
let me just complete. So in my opinion, from my understanding, an API just defines a data model. Okay. And this data model in Kubernetes translates to objects. And then we have RBAC that could define who can change these objects. So now I'm discussing about an API and a data model.
So what you're saying is the RBAC model just works on the abstract object, and some things are allowed and not allowed that it doesn't care. So
yeah, when I define an API, I just my concern or the concern of the designer is just to model the current state and the desired state of the object that the API basically is representing. Okay, this is the goal of designing an API. Then basically we have controller, and in order to make controllers to work, we should give the controllers RBAC grants in order to access the object they need.
So separation of concern is there, you're saying, between the object in itself and the ability to control it through the current and the desired state. Sorry, desired and the current state.
Yeah, it is exactly the same concept that you get, for instance, for pod. A pod that models a workload, And then you can decide with RBAC who can control this workload.
Okay, so interoperability does not get impacted. It's just the RBAC issue. You choose what you want. API remains the same. Is that the interpretation?
I guess so, but it really depends which kind of interoperability are you talking about. So Kubernetes interacting with.
So obviously all the objects, specifically the pod, the container, the application, because we are only looking at application interoperability. Anyway, I will go over it and I'll think over it and get back next time. Thanks.
All right, let's move to the next project, Justin Cops.
Yes, so I think 2 items of cross-project interest. I'll do the second one first. The second one is that we're working on adding ARM support, or our contributor, Cyprian Hackman, is working on adding ARM support. One of the blockers, one of the surprising blockers, I guess, is that we need to find a reasonable base container image for the non-distroless case. And essentially, we don't really have one anymore. We were using one from Kubernetes, which is we're no longer getting security updates. We are probably converging. So this is, we want, for example, mount fsck and make mkfs make file system in that container. Those, I think, are the 3. I think we're likely to use the official, the one that Docker maintains for Debian 10. It seems like a reasonable image and has a script that we could use to reproduce it. We're just trying to make sure of that, but not sure what other people are doing, but that's sort of where we're thinking about for the, it was a surprising gap, I think. And I don't know whether other people have the same requirement for a non-trivial base container image. The other item was that we are participating in Hacktoberfest. COPS started it, I guess, but like actually it seems to be a pretty cross-project participation across a bunch of SIG Cluster Lifecycle ones. Thank you to Lubomir and others that attended a couple of these things. It's actually, it's highlighting to me that there are cross-project technical discussions that probably need to happen that don't necessarily happen here because it's more of a structural discussion, like update and like a roll-up discussion, and obviously don't happen in the individual siloed meetings. So I'm going to try to get better at initiating those and reaching out to stakeholders, but sometimes I don't even know who those people are that have overlapping interests.
Yeah, hopefully these events like that can, like you're saying, they can surface some of the shared problems. Apparently, there was also a lot of spam around Hacktoberfest, at least on the website repository, but I think they were able to calm the situation down.
Yes, there was apparently spam. The repos now have to opt in. So COPS has opted in. Whether that, of course, means that we now are going to be a target for the spam has yet to be seen. We have not yet received that deluge of spam, but yeah, they've changed the rules to be to accommodate some of the spam problems. If you're reported as a spammer, a spam PR, you are ineligible for your quarter of a free T-shirt. So hopefully that will address some of the challenges.
Yeah, hopefully. I wanted to also ask about ARM. Do you have some sort of a communication channel with some of the ARM employees that are lurking inside the Kubernetes project? Because we saw them at Signode. They may have a recommendation for the distro here.
That would be great. Yeah, I don't know if it is. It would be great to connect with them. We are not in contact with them. I don't know whether it is we don't necessarily want to optimize specifically for ARM. It's more like we want to find an image that works for us and on all the architectures, but it would regardless be great to connect with them. I don't know, where do they Where have you seen the army of armors?
Yeah, I've seen them in the SIG node and SIG architecture meetings, but it might be a bit difficult for me to find names. They basically participated in discussions around how to officially support ARM. But I think if you contact SIG release, they might give you some names. I really do not remember them. And you can also dig in the SIG release backlog, the agenda document. You can maybe find ARM topics. Yeah.
That's great. Thank you.
Yep. Prakash here. Tina Su is the one who participates in the
Yes. Can you please write the name?
I'll do that. Thank you.
Under the COPS topic.
Thank you.
All right. Any more questions for COPS? All right, BDCube.
Yeah. So we are releasing a beta for 1.14 this week. It's going to fix a lot of networking issues we've had with the Docker driver by adding a dedicated network for each cluster, as opposed to just reusing the Docker Bridge network. We're also adding a stable add-on for automated GCP authentication for your Kubernetes applications. So you can just enable an add-on, and as long as you have Google Cloud Platform credentials in your environment, we'll find them and throw them in your Kubernetes YAML automatically. We're also adding multi-arch support for our storage provisioner, so that you can actually store things in your cluster if you're not on AMD 64. So that's what's going to be in the next release. And the other thing is, so right now we have a lot of users in China and they can't access any Google anything. So every time we release something to GCS, whether it's like our tarballs or our binaries or images or whatever, they have been mirrored to Alibaba sort of by users on a best effort sort of basis. But we kind of want to take over that so that it's available to all users. So I need to be able to know how to go about getting an Alibaba account for us is all.
Well, SIG Cloud Provider definitely have us Alibaba Cloud sub-project. So maybe that's one of the ways to find someone that can help. These are do you want me to give you the link?
Yeah, that'd be great.
You can also post in the SIG Cloud Provider channel. Hopefully Andrew Saikim or somebody else can give you actual contacts. I mean, they should be able to help in terms of who is going to pay for the accounts. That I've seen discussions that this is something that the CNCF can sponsor. I know that Igor Dvoretsky is in charge of some of that. And you can also ask Contribex because Igor that is where Igor hangs out.
Okay.
So yeah, I think that maybe the process should be ask Contribex first, can we get sponsorship for this, and then ask cloud provider hey, can you actually help us with the setup of the account?
Okay.
This is my recommendation. I don't know how.
I'll start asking in Contribex and we'll see where that goes. That'll work.
Yeah. Okay. Any questions for BDCube? HCDDM? Do we have Daniel? Hi.
Yeah. Oh, can you hear me? Sorry.
Yes.
Okay, great. Yeah. There's just a minor update that etcd is updated to default to etcd 349, which is the version in 119. That's So that's a policy that I think we wanted to follow, and you know we will try to follow in the future. Sort of ratchet up for every stable Kubernetes release. We'll ratchet up the default version. That's really it for now.
Thanks, Dario. What do you think about adding potentially HCADM as part of events such as the Hacktoberfest to get more folks to help us solve the pending changes?
Yeah, that would be great. I have been I know kind of a little about Hacktoberfest, but yeah, maybe I could ask Justin. It sounds like Cops is taking advantage of that, so maybe etcd could as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'd say there's very little structure. I tried registering for the official. They're partnered with some company that wanted to like to post on sort of the official calendar. In order to do that, you sort of had to jump through all these hoops, and I gave up on those hoops because they were a little bit silly. Like trying to find the city in which your virtual event was going to be hosted was an odd question that was required. Things like that, and then we just kept going round and round, and we missed the deadline. So I was like, well, that's the end of that. I think doing outreach and doing meetings and advertising them, I think is a good idea. And Hacktoberfest is a nice excuse. I don't think, you know, if it wasn't Hacktoberfest, it could be grouped with something else. There's not a lot from Hacktoberfest other than the self-momentum.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea. Also, Google Summer of Code or anything that can gather more contributors. Because as you know, Google Summer of Code, there are also monetary rewards. So as long as you have a good list of basically changes that you want students to make, there's a high chance that somebody can get attached to contributing. So I would say it's a some of these events are a very good idea. All right. Any more questions for HCADM? Cool. We can end early. So thank you, everybody, and see you again in a couple of weeks. Bye.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.